At 0427 hours, the radar screens light up. 412 contacts inbound. The carrier strike group has 18 minutes. This is combat power, where raw force decides survival. The USS Gerald Ford steams in the center of the formation. 3 Arleigh Burke destroyers form the outer ring. 2 Ticonderoga cruisers hold the middle perimeter. Every Aegis system goes active simultaneously. The missile swarm approaches at Mach 2.8. Range, 87 nautical miles and closing. The threat is clear. Anti-ship cruise missiles, sea skimmers, high-altitude divers, subsonic decoys mixed with supersonic killers. The defensive doctrine is simple. Engage early, engage often, engage everything. Fire control solutions generate in milliseconds. The first SM-6 interceptors launch at 0429 hours. Vertical launch cells open in rapid sequence. Flames erupt from the deck plating. 16 missiles away from the lead destroyer. The cruiser fires 24. The second destroyer adds 18 more. 58 interceptors climb toward the threat axis. Time to intercept, 4 minutes, 12 seconds. The Combat Information Center tracks every trajectory. Blue icons for friendly missiles, red icons for threats. The geometry is brutal. 412 threats, 96 vertical launch cells total across the strike group. The math does not work. Which force breaks first? A. Air defense. B. Naval group. C. Command network. The first intercepts occur at 62 miles. SM-6 warheads detonate in sequence. Explosions blossom across the radar display. 11 threats eliminated, then 19, then 34. But the swarm keeps coming. At 50 miles, the Aegis systems fire again. Another wave of SM-2 and SM-6 missiles. The launch cells are depleting fast. The Ford's escorts have already expended 40% of their magazine depth. The incoming count drops to 307. Still too many. The tactical action officer makes the call. Switch to layered defense. Let some through to the inner ring. This is the doctrine when saturation overwhelms the outer perimeter. At 38 miles, the second intercept wave engages. More explosions. The threat count drops to 214. The strike group maneuvers at flank speed, 32 knots. The Ford turns hard to starboard. The destroyers adjust formation to maintain coverage. But turning a carrier battle group is not like turning a fighter jet. The formation spreads. Gaps appear in the defensive umbrella. Enemy missiles exploit the geometry. At 22 miles, the cruisers fire their final SM-2 inventory. 18 missiles. Every one must count. The Combat Information Center reports magazine status. Lead destroyer, 12 cells remaining. Second destroyer, 9 cells. Third destroyer, 15 cells. The cruisers are nearly dry. Total remaining interceptors, 51. Incoming threats, 193. The math still does not work. What happens next changes everything. The close-in weapon systems activate. Phalanx CIWS mounts rotate toward the threat axis. 20mm Gatling cannons ready to fire. Engagement range, 1.5 miles. Rate of fire, 4,500 rounds per minute. This is the last line of defense. If the Phalanx fails, the missiles hit the hulls. At 16 miles, the final SM-6 salvo launches. Every remaining interceptor. 47 missiles climb into the threat swarm. The launch cells are empty now. No reserve, no backup. The strike group has committed everything. The interceptors detonate across a 12-mile front. Threat count drops to 109, then 86, then 61. But dozens still penetrate. At 8 miles, the Sea Sparrow systems engage. Short-range point defense missiles. Each destroyer carries 16. Each cruiser carries 16. 64 missiles total. They fire in rapid ripples. Smoke trails crisscross the sky. Explosions light up the radar display. Threat count drops to 41, then 27, then 18. The Phalanx systems acquire targets at 3 miles. The Gatling cannons open fire. Tracer rounds streak across the water. The sound is a continuous roar. Tungsten penetrators shred incoming missiles at point-blank range. Metal fragments rain into the ocean. The lead destroyer's Phalanx engages 7 targets. 5 destroyed. 2 penetrate. 1 missile skims across the wave tops, 30 feet above the water. Speed, Mach 0.9. The destroyer's electronic warfare suite fires chaff and flares. Decoys bloom in the air. The missile's seeker head locks onto a false target. It detonates 400 meters off the port beam. Shrapnel peppers the hull plating. No critical damage. The second missile does not miss. It strikes the destroyer's superstructure just below the bridge. The warhead detonates. 500 kilograms of high explosive. The blast tears through compartments. Fire erupts from the sensor mast. The SPY-1 radar goes offline. The ship lists 3 degrees to port. Damage control teams scramble, but the destroyer is still floating, still fighting. The Ford's Phalanx systems engage 11 targets simultaneously. The Gatling cannons fire in overlapping arcs. 8 missiles destroyed. 2 decoyed by electronic warfare. 1 penetrates. It strikes the flight deck at frame 187. The explosion tears a 6-meter crater in the deck plating. Jet fuel lines rupture. Fire spreads across the deck. But the carrier's armored hull contains the damage. The reactor is untouched. Propulsion remains online. The strike group survives. 18 minutes of continuous engagement. 412 threats launched. 397 destroyed or decoyed. 15 impacts. 2 ships damaged. 0 sunk. The defensive doctrine held. Barely. This is combat power, where saturation meets layered defense, and the outcome is measured in interceptors expended per threat. Neutralized. The tactical debrief begins immediately. Magazine expenditure, 94%. SM-6 inventory, 0. SM-2 inventory, 4 missiles remaining. Sea Sparrow inventory, 11 missiles remaining. Phalanx ammunition, 42% depleted. The strike group is defensively hollow. If a second wave launches now, they cannot stop it. The carrier reduces speed to 20 knots. Damage assessment teams inspect the flight deck crater. Repair estimates, 6 hours minimum before flight operations resume. The destroyer with the superstructure hit reports 14 casualties, 3 critical, 11 wounded, 0 killed. The Combat Information Center runs the simulation again. What if the enemy had launched 600 missiles instead of 400? The model is clear. The strike group would have been overwhelmed. Probability of carrier loss, 73%. The doctrine works only within certain parameters. Beyond that threshold, raw numbers defeat technology. This is the calculus of modern naval warfare. Necessary defense or catastrophic overreach. The enemy expended 412 missiles. Cost per unit, approximately $1.2 million. Total expenditure, $494 million. The defender expended 231 interceptors. Average cost per SM-6, $4.3 million. Total expenditure, $993 million, plus 11 Sea Sparrow missiles at $1.8 million each. Plus Phalanx ammunition, plus battle damage repair costs. The defender spent twice as much to survive. The economic mathematics favored the attacker. How many interceptors can one destroyer launch simultaneously? A. 24. B. 96. C. Over 200. The answer is B. An Arleigh-Burke destroyer carries 96 vertical launch cells. But not all carry interceptors. Some cells hold Tomahawk cruise missiles. Some hold anti-submarine rockets. Typical load, 64 air defense missiles per ship. The strike group had approximately 200 defensive missiles at the start. They fired 231 because some ships carry more and some less, depending on mission profile. The geometry matters. The timing matters. The magazine depth matters most. At 0512 hours, the strike group reforms. The damaged destroyer takes position in the center. The Ford's escorts close the defensive perimeter. Long-range patrol aircraft search for the launch platforms. Submarines are suspected. Surface ships are possible. Mobile ground launchers are probable. The enemy used distributed fires, multiple launch points, coordinated timing. This is modern anti-access area denial doctrine. Make the cost of entry prohibitive. The carrier strike group represents $90 billion of hardware. The missile swarm cost less than $500 million. Asymmetric mathematics. The strike group commander faces a decision: continue the mission or withdraw to rearm. Continuing means operating without adequate magazine depth. Withdrawing means ceding sea control to the enemy. Delay means vulnerability. Speed means risk. If combat power decides war's type combat power, the decision is made. The strike group continues forward. Logistics ships are en route with reload packages, SM-6 missiles, SM-2 missiles, Sea Sparrow reloads, Phalanx ammunition. The replenishment at sea will take 14 hours. Until then, the strike group is a hollow force, powerful in appearance, fragile in reality. This is the hidden cost of saturation warfare. Not the ships you lose, but the magazines you empty. The enemy knows this. The next strike will come when the defenders are most vulnerable. At 0627 hours, the radar screens light up again. 190 contacts inbound. The magazine depth is nearly zero. What would you order next?